Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the Prince of Wales, another new Tier 8 premium battleship. This one is a British battleship. It's like a King George from Tier 7, but now we are at Tier 8. So it's going to need some serious upgrades to compete. King George is a great Tier 7 battleship, mostly an HE spammer, but has some surprisingly decent AP with short fuses. Prince of Wales brings those same guns up to Tier 8 with a few unique tricks. Now, this ship will be available in the same Hunt for Bismarck 41 event that the Bismarck that we just took a look at yesterday is in. Both of these ships are very, very expensive. Tier 8 premiums, $120 for that Admiral bundle. Very expensive for either one of these ships. There is an option to buy both of them at the same time in some ultimate bundle, they're calling it, for $181. So sounds like you're getting a slightly better deal there if you want both of these ships. I'm not sure you'll want both of them, to be honest with you. There's a reason that I have taken a look at Prince of Wales here. Second, this ship is very focused on HE. In fact, you're kind of punished for using the armor piercing here. The armor piercing is actually weaker than the King George at Tier 7. It has lower alpha damage as well as having lower pen. This results in a lot of shatters, as well as when you do finally get some full pens or even citadels, it doesn't feel particularly good. That sounds quite bad though. So what's the upside here? We're at Tier 8 now for the King George. Well, it's the dispersion. Battle cruiser dispersion is what we get here. 10 guns battle cruiser, 1.8 sigma. Results in some relatively consistent salvos. Not all the time, but for the most part, these guns will go where you're aiming. The AP, I think, is best used when a cruiser gives you flat broadside and they have a large exposed citadel without spaced armor. I found myself getting a ton of torp protection hits for whatever reason, just the way this AP is. If that citadel is not directly facing the outside armor, I also found it to not be particularly effective. This is early on in my play session with Prince of Wales, so I'm still trying to use a lot of the AP. Old habits die hard, I suppose, but I see broadsides, I want to use the armor piercing. Our reload here is actually quite excellent, so DPM-wise feels pretty good. 23-second reload here, battlecruiser dispersion, short fuse AP. Sounds pretty good, but no, this is through and through an HE spammer. I played a ton of it today, and the more I used the armor piercing, the less I found it satisfying. The HE just seems to be the right way to go about things. The HE's not been changed from the King George, so still 6,100 alpha damage, 89 millimeters of pen, which is why it's getting so many full pens everywhere, and 41% fire chance. This results in over 10 fires per minute, by the way. That's like cruiser level fires per minute. Very consistent fire spammer. The other difference here is the spotter plane and the heel. We'll talk about the spotter plane first, as a downside is that we only have 17 kilometers of range. Well, 17.1. Playing that up into tier 10 games, going to be a very big challenge. What this ship has, though, is a 60-second spotter that reloads in like 5 seconds or so, 10 seconds, with some consumable reload buffs on your commander. It's effectively instantly reloading for you. I think the way that they want to balance this ship, I suppose, is forcing it to play a little further back with its armor and with this HE spam, and allowing you to do that some of the game, but not allowing you to do that the entire game. I was talking to Malta a little bit about this. It's kind of what he was thinking, is that this is a way to allow you in those very passive games, of which there are many these days, to play in those battles, get yourself out to 20.5 kilometers of range. Quite comfortable given the concealment here is sub 12 kilometers, but not allow you to just sit back there the entire time, which I think is interesting enough. It is a 20% range boost for 60 seconds, and you get 5 of them. So you get 5 minutes. Taking the spotter plane mod in slot 1 turns out to be quite useful in that regard. But then we get to this heel. This heel is kind of a super heal, but not really. If you know about Sevastopol, you know about this heal. You do get nearly 40% of your HP back per heal, 3 heals base. You can buff that up to 5 or 6, I believe, when you're running Cunningham plus both heal upgrades on your commander. It's a lot of healing. You're not going to get all of that healing though. This is a great example here. We're halfway through our heal that lasts 60 seconds, and we're not healing anything back because we've taken so much permanent damage. You're not getting the full value here, and there's another problem with this heal that I've found is that it just simply takes too long to get the HP back. Monarch is the tier 8 British battleship, and that one gets a super heal. It also gets 40% HP back per heal. It gets that in 20 seconds though, and that is a big deal. One, it allows you to tank through some very bursty damage. So if you're taking a huge amount of overmatching AP or massive HE, SAP salvos, anything like that, or just high DPM cruisers, you get multiple fires stuck on you. Super heals can actually get you back up to a reasonable health total pretty quickly. This one you can, while the heal is active, still get burst down and destroyed. Now, it is better than a standard heal, of course. Standard heals on the British line heal you back 16.8% of your HP, and those take 28 seconds with a 60-second cooldown. The Prince of Wales has a 120-second cooldown. It's slightly better than 2 of the standard British battleship heals, slightly. But I think in practice, it's quite a bit worse. If you know about Sevastopol, you already know what I'm going to say here, but usually you're not taking 33,000 damage to maximize this heal all the time. And usually you need your heal back a lot quicker than 120 seconds, 2 minutes without your heal. Usually you want to use a smaller heal more often is typically how I'm finding. Although if you eat a massive airstrike like that, maybe it's good to have so much healing. Nearly got burst down there through that, but that's okay. We managed to go dark here. Very close battle. I absolutely love to see it. On the edge of my seat here as always, and the HE certainly does not disappoint into destroyers. Unfortunate to only get 3 hits there out of the total 6 guns up front, but still, we should be able to get to another salvo as the reload is so quick here, or at least hopefully our teammates will manage to finish him off. It's a ship that gets punished for pushing in though. You notice that overmatched citadel from the Musashi. I really needed to include that as that happened multiple times while playing this ship. It wasn't just Musashis or anything like that. It was a Massachusetts at 15 kilometers. It was Amagi's, and North Carolina is easily able to do it. Even some lower tier battleships are easily able to overmatch Citadel U because your bow and stern is only 25 millimeters, and it does have an exposed above water Citadel that does not have a ton of armor. So quite weak in a brawl. This ship also has very poor firing angles, which are retained from King George. So if you're used to King George, you are quite used to these firing angles, 42 degrees forward and 38 degrees backwards, which is extremely punishing if you're trying to play at closer ranges and use all of your guns, which we kind of need to. That's really all this ship brings, is a fast reload with HE generally. It's a ship that needs to fire all of those guns. Otherwise, you are lacking in the damage output department. You don't have any sort of special tankiness to help your team in that way. So we need to be doing a lot of damage here. And trying to do that at close range, well, you're getting punished for it quite massively thanks to that armor scheme, these firing angles, and I would say also the heal. This heal can be very, very good. I've told you the downsides. My playstyle, I often am overcommitting. I am too pushed up to use a heal like this as optimally as possible. This is a heal where you need to be taking some consistent small amounts of damage and then have the ability to disengage if you need to when that heal is on cooldown. That really lends itself to playing at longer ranges. Unfortunately, playing at longer ranges also means your AP gets even worse because, of course, as we go to distance, smaller caliber AP like this, and in fact nerfed AP relative to what we see on the King George AP, gets even worse at those longer ranges. The HE remains quite consistent though, so altogether, it's not exactly my favorite playstyle. It's a ship that needs to play at outside of 12 kilometers. Certainly 15 kilometers is pretty comfortable for a ship like this one, spamming high explosive from the back line. That doesn't sound like me now, does it? And so I didn't have the best time with Prince of Wales, and yet I had some pretty solid games. I don't think I can call this ship the worst battleship at tier 8. As frustrating as I might have been at some points during my play session, it still pumps out a lot of damage. This ship does have great DPM. 160,000 HE DPM here with insane pen, insane fire chance makes for a massive farmer. You are easily able to farm down battleships even into full up tiers. Tier 10 battleships, I mean, 89 millimeters of pen. Even something like a Kremlin 60 mil deck armor, usually very strong against cruisers and anything that wants to farm it. Prince of Wales will just pen right through that. You got to be careful in return fire, of course, this ship's survivability. Which maybe leads me to how this ship is best played like a battle cruiser. A large cruiser, not like a traditional battleship. This is a ship where you don't want to be the primary focus for too long. You can do it for a bit, but once you start using that heal, you got to be quite careful. And then mostly be supplemental damage incoming for your team. And that can work reasonably well. In this one, we are unfortunately getting blown out a little bit. We're forced to brawl here at the end, but we're going to do an okay job of it, I would say. Still mostly focused around that HE, but at closer ranges, we can start to pinpoint sections of an enemy ship. I think throughout this video, you should have noticed how consistent the HE felt because of that battlecruiser dispersion. Yeah, the AP is accurate, but not going to do a ton of damage thanks to the nerf shells. The HE, though, very consistent alpha damage and very consistent fires. If someone doesn't have fire prevention, you can very easily pinpoint the other section of their superstructure that's not on fire yet. I did that a lot throughout my play session here, and it worked quite well. I'm not sure if I need to necessarily bring it up, but the AA is not amazing on this ship. I suppose I should, because apparently it's got some rocket launcher AA on the top of the turrets or something like that that's unique to this ship and hood. Doesn't do a whole lot, and the damage we eat from carriers is very, very painful. I tried to look, and I don't think that was a hawk shot that was that like 20k hit. I'm pretty sure that was the carrier that hit us that hard. Perhaps it was the hawk overmatching us. I would hope so, otherwise that is terrifying. And a lot of it, of course, is also permanent damage. In a brawl, in a close range scenario like this, we are getting ourselves caught in a crossfire. Many reasons why Prince of Wales does not want to be caught close range. The firing angles, the armor, generally this ship performing pretty well at range, not needing to get as close, but this is a big one. Large, exposed above water citadel means that if you get caught in a crossfire, you are going to take a lot of damage. Citadel damage is not repaired very well by this ship, only 10%. Even if we did manage to survive, we wouldn't be healing back much of it. Our normal repair damage, though, is 75%. So when we're taking full pens, that kind of thing, it's not so bad. We heal back 75%, allowing the heal to do a pretty decent job, but it takes a lot of time. I think that's really what it comes down to here, is most of the damage you're eating is quite bursty, or you're not eating much damage at all. At least that's how it feels to me in this game. There's kind of that small knife edge where you're playing close enough, you're eating a bit of damage, and you're not going to die. With a ship like this one, it's even harder to accomplish that because of this heal forcing you to play so long without access to it. Shatters there, unfortunately, on that broadside hawk. We're going to get a broadside Deutschland here. Some unfortunate salvos here. These were some of the more unfortunate ones, but I did want to include it here because it's not just that I played it HE and wrote off the armor piercing without playing with it. I did try to force the AP, guys. I really did. Don't, okay? I did enough testing, I think. I'm not showing you everything here because it would be quite boring and frustrating, but the AP here really isn't worth using that often. It's still worth swapping to from time to time, but it's mostly just going to be an HE spammer here, which I find pretty unfortunate. This could have been a ship that has poor armor, a weird heal to maximize the use of, a ship with great concealment, but with battlecruiser dispersion on low tier, low caliber guns that has incredibly powerful HE and incredibly powerful AP. Instead of nerfing the AP like they did from King George, they could have given it the buffed AP from Duke of York. If you're unfamiliar, that's the premium version that has a longer reload, but its AP has improved pen angles. It's really good. You get more salvos like this. That was like 17k damage into that cruiser. It would feel really fun to play, I think. I wish they had done that. Unfortunately, they have not. Duke of York AP on this would have been really cool. We're also going to see sometimes, not all the time, but every once in a while, battlecruiser dispersion trolls you. 2 hits there, unfortunately, only on the broadside Colonic. Didn't even get to see if we penned his belt armor or not, because we simply did not hit it. HE doesn't need to hit as precise targets, And of course, does a lot more damage consistently, lights fires and all that. It is an HE spammer still, but part of me, a large part of me, wishes there was an opportunity to play more AP with it. Which I think really just sums up that this ship is not for me. This is not my sort of play style. We can do pretty well in it at times, certainly, but it's not what I would naturally go to. And because of that, I often put it in positions that are not so good. That's a pretty good thing, though. Not so good for it, and then it doesn't perform particularly well. That punish... And it doesn't perform particularly well then. That being punished for pushing in really hurts me, okay? It really hurts me as a player because I'm always looking for opportunities where I can get a little bit closer. I just naturally enjoy that sort of gameplay. And getting caught at closer ranges, much easier for the enemy to pinpoint the overmatchable sections of our ship, our belt armor being a lot weaker there, as well as bursting us down through that heel. The ship is quite solid. It is quite good, even. It's just not for me. It is just not for me. And it's $120. So is it for that many people? I'm not so sure. A solid start, though. As for positioning, we do want to get close and help our destroyers. And since our concealment is so good, then we can afford to do that. I am going to take that blind fire, by the way. Low HP destroyer would be excellent to take out. Help our Hughes out a lot, who is currently... Yeah, we get him. Nice. Helping us with the submarine. That is great. I think the sub might have turned back, so we'll go for that. And then we'll look to the Hawk here. Wow. Wow. Yo, thank you, Mr. Hughes. We appreciate a good destroyer player on this channel. Yes, we do. They are not always around, so we got to enjoy it while we have it. Okay. So our team has done good on this flank, and now we're in a situation where the enemy team is probably going to kite away. Understandably. And this is where it's going to be a little bit more challenging. The ship wants the enemies to push into it rather than having to push into the enemies. It's more of that battle cruiser playstyle, you know? Here we have a Hawk stuck bow in. He's going to go forward by the looks of it, so we'll send the front turrets there. A good start. On a flank, it applies a lot of... I mean, all 4 hits there. Oh my goodness, look at the damage. Look at the consistency. The HE, the fires. As soon as I would want to... You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it just for you guys, okay? I might be a little bit late here. I'm trying to... I've had to train myself to really just stick with the HE with this ship. Because we see the Hawk going broadside and we're like, come on, surely, right? And he's actually going to angle in time. But good dispersion. We're aiming up a little higher. I don't trust this to actually get citadels, so upper belt pens here. Does okay. It's worth swapping to sometimes, but considering some of the salvos we've had throughout this video, I don't even have to tell you that it does do 15k HE salvos and then not have examples. I've landed those within this video alone. Yeah, it's an HE spammer. So pushing in. Bow on. Am I about to get caught here again, even though I'm just talking? I'm exactly doing what I shouldn't be here. So let's slow down a little bit. Let's recognize that we have about 12 kilometer detector. So once the Hawk is out of range, we could go dark if we chose to. There's no need to right now because I still have a heal. Playing with these heals is fine, but a bit of a challenging experience. So we need to always have the option to go dark. Okay, we don't have to go dark all the time, but just the option to. Now we do. If I stopped shooting and then damage controlled this fire, my damage control is still available, we would go undetected. We've already dealt with the DD, we've already dealt with the sub here, we don't have to worry about that. In this case, I don't want to. I'm also letting it burn because we have Furious and we full heal fires, okay? That's the other thing we need to point out is that fires are 100% healable. So we can greed things like Furious. I'll talk you through the build after, don't you worry. But we can greed things like Furious here because we already need to be playing quite passive around our heal. So we're often not going to get caught where Furious, the greed there for Furious would take us out. If that sort of greed is going to take us out, we would die anyway, is generally how I look at it here. Even now, don't feel the need to actually damage control. I'm going to spotter plane here to just aim a little better over this island. We have so many of them, and in a tier 8 game, by the way, very fortunate matchmaker. A lot of my games earlier today were no fire. Okay, that's fine. were against tier 10, and we did okay. Not great, but we did okay. Into tier 8, beating up on poor tier 7s, and oh my goodness, tier 6s. Both of these new ships are absolutely incredible. So we're getting a full value out of our heal here. Probably could have hit it a little sooner, considering the fire is about to tick out. But this is something... Oh, the damage. Like, it's kind of nasty. It is kind of nasty, the HE on this ship. I'm not going to lie. I'm just so disappointed that the AP isn't also nasty. A vulnerable citadel, a vulnerable bow stern, a ship that has to be careful with its positioning, but has incredible main guns. That's appealing to me. But the incredible main guns need to extend to armor piercing for me personally to find some satisfaction in it, or more satisfaction in it. There is something satisfying about the HE. I'm assuming that Yumahari is dead to those torpedoes. That's why I'm kind of moving on here. Back to the Colorado, although he is also eating some torps. Understandably, the enemy team is having a tough time here, considering they lost their destroyer and their submarine. We helped a bit with that. That was a lot on our Hughes. Oh, a double fire, the perma afterwards. Crazy. Now, he's out of range, but I could always pop my spotter when needed. It's kind of interesting with the spotter. You don't have it the whole game, right? We don't have it quite the whole game. That's interesting enough in itself. 78 seconds times 5. What is that? 6 minutes? Maybe a little more than that. That's enough time, more than enough to get over, even in tier 10 games, the majority of the early passive stuff. Oh, is this poor guy dead to the torps? No, he's not. Nice. So I don't find the lack of range, and in fact the worse range compared to even the tier 7 to be that much of a problem. Especially because we're shooting HE all the time anyway. At these longer ranges, it is quite the lead that you have to take. The shells are quite slow. You can see at 20 kilometers here, it's like a 12-second lead time, something like that. Nice. We do get ourselves the Colorado, and now we get another consumable. You'll see later on in the build, I'm not taking full heals, partially because we can run Cunningham here, who gives us an extra set of consumables on 2 kills, which is not too bad to obtain. Quite unfortunate to see ourselves in a blowout, but is what it is with the matchmaker. I think our ship performed reasonably well, even considering the blowout situation. So this is sometimes where you find the HE spammers don't actually do as much damage as the armor piercing, because you need a little more time for those dots to stack, right? To get the damage over time going with the fires. And when it's such fast games, the alpha damage, the big strikes with armor piercing tend to be a little bit better as far as just pure damage output goes. But hey, we've managed to do a good job. Part of that is we're forced into it a lot of the time because the armor piercing is not so nice. Oh, you still had your damage control up. Interesting. I assumed that would run out. Something you will want to take account for is when the enemy runs out of their DCP, get your salvo in on them only then, because you want that fire damage to tick as well. HE spamming battleships aren't that complicated, but, you know, we're talking about a little bit here as well. Maybe I can hit his bow section still for that bow fire. No, we do not. Probably worth swapping to the AP, though, considering how broadside this Heinrich is. We still get, like, 378 mil pen. This isn't quite as bad as Anhalt AP. Certainly, it's tempting to compare that, but it's not that bad. It's not as great, though. And there we go. They both go down. 141 in this impromptu live game. Not bad. Weren't stressed out too much in this one positioning-wise. You notice how I started, though? I got a little bit close with my concealment and then used an island in my concealment to turn away and get kited early. We have better kiting angles, and alongside the ship not wanting to take sustained pressure bow in, that's how I generally want to start games out. And then from there, if the enemy team starts running, we turn in like we did here, or if they're strong enough on this flank, I'll just wait and stay in that pre-kited angled position, reverse towards them a bit, and then when we start taking more pressure, we can kite away some more and run away and spam some HE. It's not that complicated, but should mention it anyway. As for the build with Prince of Wales, there's a lot of different things you can do here. I tried many different builds, including running heavy AP when I was going for more AP-focused gameplay. I'm still coping on Gunfeeder here a little bit. Given how rare the opportunity is to really use the AP with this ship, especially because you're often playing so much further back because of the armor layout and the weakness of the way the healing works, You're often not getting as many opportunities with cruiser broadsides either, which is the only thing you're really doing good damage with armor piercing with. Your heal is such a long cooldown. It might just be better to run emergency repair, honestly. That's also why I'm taking AA Defense and ASW Expert, not because our AA is any good, but for the 40% consumable cooldown time. Heavy AP, already mentioned, probably not worth going for. AR, very, very good. We can spend a lot of time at like half HP or even lower because we have so much healing in the tank, but we only get one at a time and then we have to wait a long time. So you got to be very careful with how you do it, but still worth using. And I'm taking improved repair party readiness for my extra heal. As much as I'm saying this ship does not have the best survivability characteristics, I often found myself getting the extra heal from the 2 million potential damage when I played smart, when I was playing further back. If we get close, we eat huge chunking salvos to our citadel, that kind of thing. We get burst down. But at longer ranges, you can definitely get 2 million potential damage. And thanks to our HP pool being rather low here, we're getting more of a benefit from the consumable cooldown time, the heal cooldown time that this skill gives than, say, at like tier 10 battleships where they're like at 100k HP. 63k HP, this buff stacks a lot quicker and feels more impactful because the heal takes so long to come back. I do like taking Conceal here. When we're out of our heal, we're waiting for the next one. We do sometimes just need to go dark, otherwise we're going to die before we get to our next heal. Having 11.8 kilometer detect is very, very, very good, as is fire prevention. We want some fires for Furious, but notably only the first set fire or flood on our ship gives us the 10% buff. Everyone after that only gives 5% more, so 2 fires is 15%. It's not 20%. So we really like the first set of dots on us, just the 1 fire or the 1 flood. We don't want multiple still, so that's where taking fire prevention is good. You can go for more heals if you want to, but given the nature of this ship and this heal, I don't think you really are going to make use of them most of the time. It's very rare circumstances. You need to take a lot of 100% healable damage, which is a lot of fire damage, honestly. Steering gears over prop or even damage control. This is down to, we're already taking fire prevention to deal with fires and needing to angle in. We have an over 15-second rudder here base, which feels quite bad when we got to give around 40 degrees of broadside to shoot all of our guns. Very, very easy to get citadeled in that situation. Yeah, I'll show you. The Citadel is indeed above water, only 356, 381, 280 in the front, and then only protected by 25. So battleships, basically the entire roster of battleships you're going to be fighting, overmatch you here. Feels more like a battle cruiser in that regard, eh? And is better played that way. HE spammer, pre-kited, battle cruiser. It is not for me. I can say that very, very confidently. I tried a lot to make the AP work. It is not worth going for. Spamming the HE had the best results for me, and that is not my preferred way to play battleships in World of Warships. So for me, this is a very, very easy pass, but maybe for you, that's a playstyle that you are interested in. It's a solid HE spammer, played more like a battle cruiser. Gotta watch that heal though. It's a little bit awkward to make use of, but $120 US, very, very expensive, as is the $181 bundle. In my opinion, that bundle, not a great value because I would just simply never play the Prince of Wales after getting it. It also means that kind of dilutes the loot box gambly way that you may be thinking of getting either one of these ships. Like if you want Bismarck 41, wouldn't recommend going that route either, as always. But yeah, it means that if you do pull a ship and it's this one, I would be personally quite disappointed with that. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. This is just my opinion on the ship. It is not my favorite playstyle, so maybe you should check out some other content creators for the game. I would always recommend you do that anyway, but this is a really good reason to. This ship just doesn't fit with me very well. Maybe you should watch some people that it does click better with, and that way you'd get a little bit better, interesting opinion on this ship, perhaps, rather than just saying, it's not for me. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.